So lincosamides. Lincosamides, the first lincosamide to be discovered was linomycin, and it was isolated from Streptomyces lingonensis. Okay, the lincosamides and their derivatives are amino acid and sulfur containing octose sugar. So what is it? Is made up of an amino acid, that is hydric acid, and a sulfur containing octose sugar. Means 8 carbon sugarmide. So octose means 8. So it is made of sulfur containing 8 octose sugar and an amino acid, that is hydric acid. Okay, lincosamides, macrolides, chlorophyll all have different structures, but they have got same mechanism of action. They act on the same side, that is 50S ribosomal subunits of your microorganisms. They have got the same mechanism of action. The lincosamides are bacteriostatic and bacterial depending upon the concentration, and they are active in alkaline pH. Lincomycin is superseded by clindamycin, which exhibits improved antibacterial. So it is a synthetic analog of lincosamide. Okay. Now let's go for the structure of lincosamide. So it contains an N-methylated proline amino acid with an propyl substitution at the third position. So it has N-methyl proline, that is an acyclic amino acid, with an propyl group at the third position. So proline is your cyclic amino acid. It contains an pyrrolidine ring, methylated pyrrolidine ring with an propyl group at the third position, and it is connected by an amide bond. Okay, it is connected by an amide bond to your octose sugar, sulfur containing octose sugar. If you see the structure, it has got your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 membered 5 carbon containing sugar, which is connected to an amino, that is NHCH, NH2, CH2, CH3, OH. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 carbon with an OH. Okay, so this is the structure of your lincosamide. Okay, that this is known as, the amino part is known as alpha methyl thiolincosamiide. Okay, alpha methyl because it contains a methyl group at the alpha position. Okay, so this is your structure. Now the part which is of your amino acid, it is known as hydric acid. It is known as hydric acid. The only difference between your lincomycin and your clindamycin is the OH. If you see the OH, that gets converted to your Cl. That's the only difference. It contains a thiomethyl, OH. So if you go to the structure, the point of attachment, it contains, that is your first carbon, OH, third carbon, OH at the fourth, and S-methyl at the fifth carbon. Okay, and this is connected to your CHNH, CHCl, CH3. Okay, it is an 8 carbon. So 5 carbon in your ring. Then there are 3 carbons at the side chain, which contains an methyl and an NH. So this is the structure of your lincosamide, and linomycin and clindamycin. So it's, now let us see the spectrum. It is a broad spectrum, which is example, it is effective against gram-positive bacteriocyte. It is effective against all the anaerobics. Okay, mechanism of action, it binds with the 50S subunits and inhibiting the protein synthesis. It is well absorbed and penetrates into most of the, including the bone. It has got a very good pharmacokinetic property. So what exactly does? Okay, so they get incorporated, okay, into ATP. So energy source also it will inhibit. So they act as an So they will also inhibit your protein synthesis, because instead of your amino acids they get introduced. And so this is how it can also act. Side effects: it causes GI irritation, nausea, vomiting, stomatitis, allergic reaction, drug interaction. Is incompatible with aminophylines, phenytoins, barbiturates, and ampicillin. So it cannot be given during anybody who's on anticonvulsants. Okay, so you have to be careful when you prescribe lincosamines. So next class of antibiotics is polypeptides. Next class of antibiotics is polypeptide. What do you mean by poly? Multiple chain amino acids. Okay, peptides means it contains of amino acids. So it's a long chain of amino acids which acts as an antibiotic. So first is glycopeptide antibiotics. Glycopeptide. Glyco means it contains sugar and as well as it amino acids. So that's why it is known as glyco. This structure is comprised of polycyclic cross-linked array of amino acids. So it contains a polycyclic, means long chain cyclic compound. Okay, long chain cyclic array of amino acids. These amino acids might be aromatic, aromatic amino acids like tyrosine, phenylalanine, uncommon, and with D stereoisomer. So the stereoisomer chemistry is always D. The configuration of your amino acids will always be D. D means your amino groups will be on the right side always. Your amino groups will always be the right side of your Fischer structure. Okay. The polycyclic structure may be glycosylated by amino or neutral sugar. So the sugars might be amino or a neutral sugar. Neutral sugar means it does not contain any other group. Rather, okay. Amino means it contains NH2. It contains NH2 as one of the substituent. So that's why it is called as amino sugar. And why it is called glycosylated? Because it is attached to your amino acid side chain by a O-glycosidic linkage. Okay, that is, they are water soluble, polar antibiotic, acidic, basic, or zeta ionic in nature. Okay, because they are not orally well absorbed. Examples are vancomycin, telecopenin are the prototypes of this class. Now let's go the spectrum of activity of this glycopolypeptide antibiotics. These antibiotics, they are antibiotics against most gram-positive aerobic and anaerobic bacteria. So they are active against both gram-positive aerobic and anaerobic. They are valuable for treatment of infection caused by gram-positive, especially staphylococci, that are resistant to other antibiotics. So when the other antibiotics are resistant, you can prescribe this antibiotic. Vancomycin is important in treatment of antibiotic-induced enterocolitis associated with ear defects. Okay, this infection. So spectrum of, as I said, can be against both your gram-positive aerobic as well as anaerobic bacteria. Ineffective against gram-negative except Neisseria species. Okay, it can be used in the treatment of endocarditis caused by MRSA. Okay, so these are the spectrum of activity. Now let's go for the mechanism. So they inhibit the cell wall synthesis. So they inhibit what? They inhibit the cell wall synthesis by binding to the D-alanine terminal of your growing peptides. So when there is D-alanine part, if your amino acid which is present in your polypeptide chain, they bind to that. Okay, they bind to this site and thus inhibit the enzyme transfer, which further prevents the elongation and cross-linkage with your peptidoglycan matrix. So there is a cell wall membrane that is made of peptidoglycan. So that has to be cross-linked. So once this vancomycin gets added, to this D-alanine chain of your polypeptide chain synthesis, this will inhibit the cross-linkage of the peptidoglycan with the matrix. So that's why it does inhibits your cell wall synthesis. So the mechanism of action is inhibition of cell wall synthesis. Now let's go for the structure of vancomycin. So I've given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 structures associated in this vancomycin. I can go 1. The first is, if you see the number 1, it is N-methylated leucine. It is N-methylated leucine. Okay, that's the first carbon, which is connected to a 2-hydroxy 3-chlorotyrosine. If you see the second, which is attached in the yellow, it is connected to 2-hydroxy 3-chlorotyrosine. Tyrosine means it contains an OH at the 4th position. That is modified tyrosine. So it contains a modified amino acid, which has a chloro at the 3rd position in the aromatic ring and an hydroxyl at the 2nd position, okay, of your amino acid. Okay, then it is connected. The third one is your arginine. Third one is your arginine. Okay, it's an arginine. Aspargine, sorry, it's an aspargine. That is your amide containing amino acid. Followed by tyrosine, which is attached to a, so fourth one is your tyrosine, which is attached to your glucose moiety. Here is your glucose part, your glycone part. It contains a glucose and an amino sugar. Okay, it's a neutral sugar as well as an amino sugar. That is your vancosamine. So it is deoxy sugar. Why it is called deoxy sugar? Because at the 2nd position there is no OH. Okay, methyl and NH2 OH OCS3. So it is a methylated sugar, amino sugar. It is a methylated, vancomycin is a methylated amino sugar, which is connected to your by O-glycosidic linkage to glucose and your tyrosine. 6th one is your 2-hydroxy 3-chloro. It is 2-hydroxy 3-chlorotyrosine, similar to that of your 2nd, which is connected to a attached to your resorcinol. If you see what is resorcinol, your 7th is a resorcinol. It is a phenol at which contains OH at 1 and 3 position. So it is connected to your resorcinol. This tyrosine is connected to your resorcinol, as well as it is attached to another carbon to at the 5th position by a carbon. Okay, and 2 and 6 position carbon ring are connected to each other at the 4th by an ether linkage. So it is connected. 2 and 6 are connected to 4 by a ether linkage. Okay, so just see the structure. You'll come to know all this. You have to just put it in the structure. Okay, so this is the structure of vancomycin. So the aglycone part. What do you mean by aglycone part? It means other than your amino acids. Aglycone with resorcinol derived amino acid, it is 1/4 of the potential of your vancomycin. So you have to have that sugar moiety to show the activity. Glycone part is your glucose and vancosamine. Vancosamine is nothing but your methylated amino sugar. It forms, how does it inhibit? They form the hydrogen bonding with your D-alanine portion of your uracil diphosphate and acetyl muramyl peptidase. So which is your outer membrane of your cell. It's the innermost membrane of your cell. Okay, and inhibits the cross linkage with your peptidoglycan. This causes the destruction of your cell wall. So this is how they interfere with the cell walls. It does not show cross resistance with the beta-lactamase, bactericin and cycloserine. So it inhibits your peptidoglycan cross linkage, which is necessary for your structural integrity of your cell. This is the mechanism of action of vancomycin. So now the resistance. Why does the resistance occur? So changing in D-alanine unit of your peptidoglycan. So the peptidoglycan, it is replaced by your D-alanine D-lactate, which cannot be bound to your vancomycin. So the resistance is occurs because of the sequence change in your amino acids which is present in your peptidoglycan chain. So this is how the resistance is. So bacterials will change the sequence and thus it will cause the resistance in your vancomycin. Now next is your peptide antibiotics. Next is your peptide. Vancomycin is an example of glycopeptide antibiotic. Now let's go for the next class, that is peptide antibiotics. Okay, peptide means it contains amino acid sequence. It contains amino acid sequence. These are large diverse class of natural products. Some contains only amino acid joined by amide bonds, whereas others may contain non-amino acid constituents also. Non-amino acid constituents means they are not amino acids, but they interlink between your peptide chain. They contains amine or a carboxylic acid, not as that present in your amino acid. The sequence will be different. They are joined by conventional peptide linkage, which are joined by any other conventional peptide linkage. Peptide is nothing but your amide bond. Okay, the amino acid range from those commonly found in your proteins to uncommon ones. You will get alanine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, arginine, ornithine. These are the amino acid, and it contains some other than that uncommon amino with highly modified structure. So these are the backbone of your peptide antibody, and this peptide array may be linear, so it can be straight chain, it can be cyclic, or combination of both. It can be a linear amino acid sequence, or it can be a cyclic amino acid array. So both the features can be available in this peptide antibiotic. Now let's go for the first example. Don't worry about the structure. So first example is bactericin. First example is what? Bactericin. So it has got a thiazolidine ring at the side. It has a thiazolidine, that is sulfur and nitrogen 5-membered ring. Okay, sulfur and nitrogen containing 5-membered ring, which has an, if you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it is 2 amino 3 methyl butane substitution to the amino thiazide, which is connected by an amide bond. Okay, which is connected by an amide bond. Now let us go one by one the amino acid. This is the side chain. Okay, it is the side chain. It contains 1 amino 2 methyl butyl side chain at the C2 carbon. Okay, with the carbonyl at the C4 carbon. Okay, so this is the side structure. Now let us go for the amino acid side chain. Now let us go for your amino acid side. So first one is what? Leucine. Okay, which is connected to what? Glutamic acid. It is connected to glutamic acid, followed by a lysine. If you see the arrows, if you see the arrow, if you see, I'll just see the cursor. So this is your first one is your leucine. Okay, this is your amino acid. This forms a second amide bond with your glutamic acid. The second amino acid is your glutamate, that is an acetic amino acid. Okay, this is then connected to what? The glutamic acid is connected again to your lysine amino acid. Okay, one forms an amide with this carboxylic acid forms a amide peptide bond with next. So what is the next? It is ornithine. If you see ornithine, this is an ornithine. COH. It has an 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 with an amino group, which has an amino substituted diamino. It's a diamino amino acid. Okay, this ornithine. Okay, if you see this ornithine is again connected to your aspargine. Okay, this is again, if you see this structure, it is connected to an aspargine. This aspargine is connected to your aspartic acid. Aspartic acid is nothing but an acidic. This is an amidic. Then this is connected to your histidine. Your aspartic acid is connected to your histidine side chain. It is connected to an histidine side chain. And this histidine, if you see, this histidine is connected to your phenylalanine. It is connected to an phenylalanine side chain. Okay, it is connected to a phenylalanine side chain, which is again connected to your lysine, and this lysine is again connected to your ornithine. So this is the structure of your bactericin. You should know just the amino acid sequence which is present. If you should know the amino acid sequence that is present. Start with your leucine, glutamic acid, lysine, ornithine, lysine, phenylalanine, histidine, aspartic acid, aspargine, which is connected to the ornithine earlier in the ring. So this is your structure of your bactericin. Okay. The only thing you have to remember is the amino acid sequence. You should remember the amino acid sequence. This is obtained from your Bacillus subtilis in the lesions of a broken leg of a 7-year-old girl, Margaret Tracy. So this was obtained from the lesions, okay, of your 7-year-old girl. It is effective against gram-positive bacteria. It can be given locally, intramuscularly against resistant staphylococcus, orally for treating enteropathogen diarrhea, especially against Clostridium difficile. Okay, Clostridium difficile. It is your stomach infection. And it is mostly used in the disinfection of your gut before the operation. So if you want to remove all the infection before you cleanse the stomach or the gut before the operation, so this is given to the patient before the operation. So remember, bactericin is given for disinfecting the gut before the operation. Moreover, it forms a chelate with metal ions. So EDTA deactivates it. So divalent ions such as zinc is necessary for its antibacterial. Okay, it inhibits the biosynthesis of peptide glycans of your cell wall by inhibiting the dephosphorylation of your phospholipids. Okay, so this is how is the mechanism of action of your bactericin. So next class of drug is polymyxin. It is polymyxin B. Polymyxin A and B, and polymyxin E is colistin. Polymyxin E is nothing but only difference it is at the R position. If you see at this position, your polymyxin B contains your phenylalanine, whereas in your colistin it contains your leucine moiety. In the leucine moiety. Now let's go for the structure. This is nothing but simple structure which contains amino acids, fatty acids, and heptapeptide rings. What is hepta? What do you mean by hepta? 7-membered ring. Okay, 7-membered peptide ring. So it contains 7 amino acids in the peptide chain, which is connected to an exocyclic, means other outside the ring, exocyclic chain, and which is connected to a fatty acid, Okay, it is connected to a 9-carbon fatty acids. Okay, so it was isolated from Bacillus polymyxia in 1947 with a mixture containing polymyxin A, B1, B2, C, D1, D2, M, colistin A, B, C, and sertraline AB. Out of this, polymyxin B was found to be effective along with your colistin. So basically, it is a cyclic heptide with several units of alpha gamma diamino butyric acid. So if you see the structure, of this, it starts with the fatty acid side chain. It is a 9-carbon fatty acid which is connected to a diamino butyric acid. If you see alpha, beta, gamma, if you see the structure, it is connected. This is your amide carboxylic acid, alpha, beta, gamma, diamino butyric acid. Why it is called butyric? It is 4 carbon and amino acid at the alpha and the alpha and the gamma position. That's why it is called. Now this is connected to what? This is connected to thorium, huh? Threonine. Okay, it is connected to threonine, which is again connected to a diamino butyric acid, the third carbon. Okay, this is your first, second, third. Now this is your exocyclic ring. This is your exocyclic, means outside the ring. Now what is the ring made up of? What is the ring made up of? Now the first one is in the ring is diamino butyric acid. That's your fourth amino acid in the ring. Okay, this is connected to what? This is again connected to another molecule of, this is connected again to another molecule of diamino butyric. The fifth one is also diamino butyric acid. Now what is the sixth one? Now sixth one, okay, so the sixth one is where you can change between your polymyxin B and polymyxin E, that is your colistin. So in case of polymyxin B, it is a phenylalanine. It is a phenylalanine, that is C6H5CH2, which is connected to your amino acid ring. Okay. In case of leucine, it is your isobutyl group. Okay, it's a isobutyl group. So that is the difference between polymyxin B and E. Now this is connected to leucine. The seventh one is your leucine. Seventh one is your leucine. Okay, is your leucine, followed by a diamino butyric. Eighth one is your diamino butyric acid. Ninth is also diamino butyric, and your 10th one is your threonine. 10th one is your threonine. So this is the threonine is nothing but your hydroxy amino acid. It's nothing but your hydroxy amino acid. So this is the structure of polymyxin B. It contains an fatty acids, long chain 9 carbon fatty acid connected to the diamino butyric acid, which is connected to threonine, another diamino butyric acid. Now let us see how many diamino butyric acids are present in the ring. First, third, if you see the first, third, fourth, fifth, then your eighth and ninth. 8, 9. So how many are there? First, third, fourth, fifth, eighth and ninth carbon. Ninth group is your diamino butyric acid. So these are linked to what? Threonine. So if you see, for every 2 diamino butyric acid, there is 1 amino acid present. Okay, so that is your leucine and your isoleucine. Leucine, 2 amount of leucine, and in case of polymyxin B, it is phenylalanine. So this is the structure of your polymyxin B. Clinical application and mechanism of action of this: it is a complex with, it forms a complex with membrane phospholipids and disrupts the cell membrane, similar to cationic detergents. Okay, they are bactericidal but restricted to gram-negative bacteria. They are used locally for local infection of wounds and in burns with a gram-negative antibacterial bacteria. So it is given in combination with your bactericin for gram-positive bacterial infection. Okay, it is used orally for the treatment of GI infections such as Pseudomonas induced enteritis and shigellosis. It can be given intramuscular and intrathecal injection for systemic infection. Mechanism of action, if you can see. So this polymyxin have strong positive charge. So they got strong positive charge because of which, and a hydrophobic aryl chain. The initial target is liposomal polysaccharides. That is a major portion in the outer membrane of your gram-negative bacteria. Okay, they displaces the divalent carbon and magnesium. So what they do, they displace the calcium and magnesium. This causes the dispersion of your cell membrane and increased permeability and leakage of the cell contents and subsequent cell death Okay, the polymyxin binds to the lipid portion of the liposomal polysaccharide and exhibits anti-endotoxin activity. So this is your mechanism of action of your polymyxin. They bind with your, since they are positively charged, they contain both positive charge and the hydrophobic aryl chain. They initially target the liposomal polysaccharide system, that is the outer membrane of your gram negative. They displace the divalent carbon, calcium and magnesium. That causes the disruption of your cell wall, increased in permeability and leakage of the cell content, and subsequent cell death. So this is the mechanism of action of polymyxin. So this is the structure of your cholesterol. Only thing is that at the sixth carbon, your phenylalanine is replaced by your leucine. It was isolated from Arabacillus colestrinus. Spectrum and mechanism similar to your polymyxin. They inhibit your cell wall synthesis. Okay. The structural difference, as I said, it is D-phenylalanine is replaced by your D-leucine. So that is only the structural difference between polymyxin and your colistin. So next class of drug is your gramicidin. Gramicidin is not. Next class of drug is grami. It is an example of your inophores. It's an example of your inophore. Now let us see the structure of gramicidin. You look at the structure. It's very simple. It is just nothing but a sequence of amino acids, cyclic amino acid. It's a sequence of cyclic amino acids. So what all amino acids are present? First is your proline. Let's go from here, from the top portion. Proline, which is connected to valine, which is connected to ornithine, which is again connected to your leucine, followed by phenylalanine, proline, valine, ornithine, leucine and phenyl. So they are just mirror image of each other. You slice the structure, exact mirror image of each other, opposite side, okay, but in opposite direction. Valine, proline. So if you see, they are just continuation till proline, valine, ornithine, leucine, phenylalanine. Again proline, valine, ornithine, leucine and phenylalanine. So this is nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is a 5 amino sequence which are connected to each other in a cyclic. It is what? Proline, valine, ornithine, leucine and phenylalanine. Again the same sequence will start. So this is nothing but granicidin. This is nothing but your granicidin. So you should know the structure of amino acids. So once you know the structure of amino acids, you can write any structure of this polypeptide antibiotics. Okay. Now let us see the go into granicidin. It was obtained by extraction of tyrosine, a mixture of two polypeptides isolated from Bacillus brevis. Tyrosine is consisted of granicidins and ticrocidins. Granicidin is a mixture of ABCD. These are the different mixtures that are present, but more effective. But granicidin was more effective antibacterial than your tyrosine mixture. It acts as an ionophore in the bacterial cell wall and makes hole in it. So that's why it is bactericide. It is active against gram-positive bacteria. So what does this do? So it acts as an ionophore in the cell and makes an hole in it. So what does it do? It will make a hole inside this. So that will change the charge. So there is an electrochemical gradient of your sodium and low concentration inside and out. So they try to change the ionic balance within your cell membrane and thus making holes. That is, they destroy the balance of your electrolytes within the microorganism and thus cause your bactericidal effect. Ionophores are the agent that enter the cell membrane and change its permeability. They make ion move inwards and outwards of the cell membrane and thus change the ionic concentration becomes equal in both the cells. So they will try to imbalance the ionic charge. So outside going. So this is how they are acting as an ionophore. So these are the drugs of your polypeptide series. Okay, glycopolypeptides antibiotic and polypeptide anti